I would say that's a small victory for the incarcerated individual population by her admitting that there is something underhanded or at play going on, even though it was vague and she could have been more blunt in her approach of letting people know that there is a culture of brutality going on. But at the end of the day, she still has to play a role as the New York State governor, and safety and security is her top priority. So she's probably allowing the court process to play its part.
Andrew Donovan with News Channel 9, he interviewed her a couple of days ago. And he had asked her whether there was a culture of violence in the New York State Department of Corrections. And she answered as follows. She said, yes, there is something going on, and we have to get to the bottom of it. So I just wanted to ask you your opinion about that interview, about her statement saying, yes, there is something going on, and we have to get to the bottom of it. Let's jump to you, Sean. Tell me your thoughts about her interview and what she said.
So I would say that's a small victory for the incarcerated individual population by her admitting that there is something underhanded or at play going on, even though it was vague and she could have been more blunt in her approach of letting people know that there is a culture of brutality going on. But at the end of the day, she still has to play a role as the New York State governor, and safety and security is her top priority. So she's probably allowing the court process to play its part. So I can't fault her for that. And she does have a job to do at the end of the day, and she does have to wait for the investigation to play out. But you still have a responsibility to follow the Constitution, which overrides any kind of morals or any kind of election process that she's trying to hold on to.
Mm.
Yes, there's a culture of back in the blue that has a brutality aspect to it, right? So she has an obligation to let the world know, let all of her supporters know, or people that's against her know that there's a culture of brutality going on, and we're trying to rid these facilities of all the bad apples. She didn't do that, but she did admit it partially, but that's not enough. That's not enough. Silence is an admission of guilt.
Wow.
Mm.
Powerful. Powerful.
Yeah, very fair
Patrick.
point. No, very fair point. Like it's very clear to the state, or should be clear, that this has been persistent. This isn't
Mhm.
like this isn't anything new, in terms of the brutality that occurs inside of the prison spaces. Like I was just thinking back to um, a number of the cases where guards alleged that they had been assaulted, and one of the things that I think one of the judges had found, that it was very interesting, um, the way in which the reports were written. Um, they were basically these boilerplate responses that said, I asked the inmate to get on the wall to subject himself to a pat frisk. He
Mhm.
complied, went on the wall, but then jumped off of the wall to attack any number of guards. Why anyone would believe such a thing, that someone who was committed to violence against an officer would comply with putting themselves in the most vulnerable position possible before deciding that this was their optimal time to attack, is beyond me. And so it's very obvious, like there's been a pattern of it, that is easy to recognize. I think the one thing I would charge the governor with is thinking about ways to destabilize the corrections union and NISCOBA and the way that they represent officers. Like, this is part of the problem. Part of the problem is they have way too much power, relative to any other union. It is because of their power that the officers in the Robert Wills case were not arrested right away or even fired right away. This whole arbitration clause that they have in their contracts, the kowtowing to them even when they are very clearly in violation of their job duties and titles, is absurd to me. Like, they don't should not be rewarded for fostering an environment where abuse can happen. And so, to me, you need to go at the heart of their power, and undermine that if you want to be on even footing, even in terms of negotiating with them. Like, they do not deserve the benefit of the doubt in any of these cases. And even when we talk about, you know, they tried to tell us that the walkouts and the riots had nothing to do with those officers getting charged in the murder of Robert Brooks. You just basically signed a contract, right, with the state. Now your officers are getting charged, and now you're walking out in violation of the law, mind you. So your power is such that not only can you keep your officers out of prison for extended period of time to face justice, or what they would call justice, but you also were able to negotiate to the point that you could get better benefits for yourself. Behind that is insane. Imagine the teachers union defending a teacher that beat a student in her class, and then coming back to the governor and saying, we want raises. These kids are out of control in these classrooms. Everyone would be up in arms, but because it's incarcerated people, because it's largely Black and brown people, the response is somewhat different. And I think that is something that the governor has a responsibility to address. And it is not enough to say that, look, there are a few bad apples. Yes, there's a culture, and then water it down and then walk it back.
I agree with you 1,000%, Patrick. I think New York Focus and also the Marshall Project, they've done some great articles about the power of the correctional union NYSCOBA and the power of the collective bargaining agreement, right? So imagine you have your corporation, your own company, and you do not have the power to terminate your own employees. So we've heard Daniel Marchicello III say, my hands are tied. And honestly, I'm a little bit more sinister. For me, it's by design. For me, this whole thing is by design. It's a way of washing your hands to not take accountability, because if you really wanted to, that would be an enormous task, but you would take out those provisions in that collective bargaining agreement that you don't have the power to terminate your own people. Well, what company operates like that you have to go through, a third party arbitrator? It's ludicrous.
An arbitrator that is paid for by your union.
Yeah.
It's insane.
If you found value in this video, please like the video, comment below. Don't forget to share the video. And if you feel that I've earned it, please subscribe to the channel. My goal is to give you honest and direct feedback and go deeper than what the mainstream media is telling you. Take care, God bless, and see you next time.